Hello and welcome. This is the Marketplace. This is where we analyze the market, talk about the trends and investments and how global development impacts your business activities here in Ghana and across the continent. On the program today, the cedi begins recovery against the British pound and the euro after experiencing sustained levels of depreciation before Brexit. We will be looking at that, or we'll be speaking to a currency analyst here on the program, plus more other business stories that we have for you here on the Marketplace. You can stay interactive with us on Twitter. Our handle is Joy Business GH, and on Facebook it is Joy Business. For more, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is John Kojo Amuakom. Marketplace returns immediately after this break. Now, in our first story, accounting firm KPMG said it sees Ghana's program with the IMF as one of the surest ways to help fast-track the stability of the economy. This follows a recent report by KPMG, which suggests that a large number of chief finance officers in the country expect things to worsen this year with regards to the performance of the economy. Speaking ahead of the KPMG CFO Forum, which takes place tomorrow, partner advisor at KPMG, Andy Akoto, says he expects things to improve, looking at the measures put in place so far by government.
There are still protracted challenges, facing business and economic environment. And for that matter, it's anticipated that, concerns challenges will remain or persist. If you take, for example, some of the key economic headwinds that are confronting businesses right now, we are talking of falling commodity prices. We are talking of volatility in the exchange rates market. We are talking about persistent inflation and high fiscal deficits. I mean, all these things are issues that businesses have to grapple with. And so it's understandable if, CFOs will express some of these, if you like, less than positive sentiments. Most business decisions are informed by the kind of returns that these businesses expect to make. You talk about the energy sector, very, very critical. In fact, around the African sub-region, for example, these challenges are not limited to Ghana. And that's why, for example, there has been such initiatives such as the West African Power Pool, to enable the various countries to share experiences, share strategies, in order to, if you like, ride out this very, very critical element. Energy is fundamental to economic transformation and industrial progress. The more it becomes an issue, the more it bedevils the bottom line of various enterprises. And so it is absolutely critical that the managers of the economy give it a lot of focus and attention in order to help bring, costs down and also allow the various businesses to earn decent returns on their investment.
An ADC Investment Limited, a subsidiary of Ecobank Capital Ghana, has launched an initial public offering for its money market fund. The new product allows investors to meet short-term financial demands by allowing managers to invest in bonds, treasury bills, and other money market securities. Darryl Kwao has more in this report.
The objective of the fund, according to managers, is to maximize incomes in line with prevailing Ghanaian money market rates while aiming to preserve capital and to maintain a high degree of liquidity. The fund will invest in a broadly diversified portfolio of short-term, high-quality money market securities. Kesey Antonio is Managing Director of EDC Investments.
With a money market fund, we invest only in instruments with a tenor of less than 12 months. So the money market fund is more of a liquidity management tool. You have money, but you'll be needing liquidity in the short term, but you don't want it sitting idle in a bank account. You don't want to lock it up in money, in an instrument, maybe for instance treasury bills, for 3 months when you don't know you might possibly need it in 2 months, you know. But because of that, you don't want to invest in anything because you'll be needing the money soon. But with the EDC money market fund, it gives you the option to come in, get some returns, and invest at any time you want without any penalties for redeeming. Because, you know, with other instruments, you get a penalty for investing, for pulling out before the, you know, tenor of the investment, okay? So, and there's no front load as well. We don't charge anyone for entering the fund. So you can come in and exit at any time you like.
The IPO period runs till July 18, 2016. So who qualifies to subscribe for the IPO, and how much does one need to participate?
Well, for individuals, it's just 100 cedis. For corporates, 50,000 minimum. Now, the thing is that for individuals, you can subsequently top up with 50 cedis minimum, and for corporates, 10,000 for subsequent investments.
Is it open to everyone?
It's open to everyone. It's open-ended. When I talk about it being open-ended, that means it's going to exist into perpetuity unless the trustees and the unit holders, for one reason or the other, want the fund wound down. And once that is done, monies will be distributed to unit holders.
The EDC Money Market Fund is the most recent collective investment scheme that EcoBank's asset management business has launched in Africa, with assets under management in these schemes amounting to $310 million. In Ghana, two of these schemes, the EDC Ghana Balance Fund and the EDC Ghana Fixed Income Fund, have a combined net asset value of 135 million cedis.
The first SME to list on the Ghana alternative market, Samba Foods, minimized its losses by 73% at the end of 2015. The indigenous food manufacturing company posted a net loss after tax of about 187,000 Ghana cedis compared to the almost 714,000 recorded in 2014. This was revealed at the company's first annual general meeting.
Samba Foods Limited was established as a micro-initiative in 1993. It launched its initial public offering in February 2015 and listed on the Ghana alternative market in May same year. Since then, the firm has been restructuring and refurbishing existing facility and some machinery. According to the managing director, Letitia Safuado, the company could have recorded profits, but for some investments made in modern machinery to increase production.
We've seen a significant improvement in the processing facility. It is important, if you want to grow, to actually increase your production. And with the kind of rudimental plant or machinery that we had, it was not very easy to do that. So with the rolling of the funds from the public, we've been able to, install a processing, that is a plant, Ghana processing plant, which I think will be the largest in the country.
Madame Safuado also explained how the Ghana alternative market has boosted her company's operations.
You know, before we went on the to the public to see funding, we were really struggling, to get things right. Sambana pride itself of, doing things right, and to be able to do that, you need funds. Funds from the traditional or the formal sector attracts very high interest rates. It is very difficult and cumbersome to have, and then again, they are all of short-term nature. But with this gas or the stock exchange, you can have money for long-term operations, and that was one of the reasons why we went there.
Management of the firm expect finances to improve next year as it increases production.
And the cedi has begun recovering against the British pound and the euro after experiencing sustained levels of depreciation before the UK's exit from the European Union. The pound is currently trading at 5 Ghana cedis 40 pesos from 5 Ghana cedis 88 pesos on the interbank market. The cedi prior to last Friday's performance had suffered sustained depreciation against the pound at both the interbank and forex bureau markets. But globally, the British pound had lost about 10% in value, a level not seen since 1985 and well below the value at the worst of the 2008 financial crisis. Is this an opportunity for Ghana to rejoice? To help us actually answer some of these questions is a currency analyst and economist, and also the Chief Executive Officer of Investcorp Ghana Limited, Samson Akiligo, on the line to actually help us get some clarity into this and also put it in perspective. Mr. Akiligo, you're welcome to the marketplace.
Yeah, thank you.
Exactly. For the past, I think, 3 days, just a day after Brexit, we've seen the cedi appreciate against the British pound and then the euro. Can you give us the background? What exactly do you think is accounting for this particular performance of the cedi?
No, I think the underlying factor is the volatility mainly in the international market, and the fact that the Brexit decision sets part of uncertainty. I think really is what we are witnessing is volatility, and it reflects the fact that people are uncertain and people are unsure, and it will take some time for the market to settle. So yes, you've seen the cedi actually increasing to as much as 5.78% on interbank market, Bank of Ghana rate, and of course today we've seen it around an average of 5.1, which is quite sharp. Yeah. And I think that we should. It's very clear that the market, especially the efficient markets across the world, are not sure what the outcome or the final outcome of the decision will be and the impact that it will have on the UK economy. And I also think that another key thing is, again, in terms of leadership, a lot has been done to calm the markets, and until the market get a clear signal, we will be seeing this volatility.
Okay. You did indicate earlier that it's just as a result of the volatility and the investors being unsure of the market. That is why. Is that supposed to mean that just investors have confidence in the Ghana cedi more than the British pound, for which they would want to use the cedi as a safe haven form of investment? Is that what you mean?
I think no, that is not it.
Okay, then can you clarify?
Have to respond. The cedi is. This is really more a global phenomenon than a local development. So the cedi is responding to developments in the global market, especially what investors are doing with respect to the decision of the UK government to leave, and Ghana is being affected by that. Yeah.
Okay, so it also means that irrespective of what our central banks and then the finance ministry and then, let's say, the monetary policy agents are doing, the cedi will still survive and ride on the back of this to make some value. Is that what it means?
I think so. I think that these volatilities, the central banks, typically central banks should not be too interested in this short-term volatility, especially in markets like Ghana. But certainly, if it is seen as something that is going to be persistent and influence our terms of trade, we will see some action from our side. And I think the main thing that we need to do and watch is that, one, how do we keep cedi assets attractive, which I mentioned yesterday. It's very important for Ghana. And in the long term, too, we must be, what do we put in place to ensure that our terms of trade position remains competitive? Because Ghana is exposed to the UK significantly in terms of trade.
All right. But then a quick follow-up on that. How sustainable is this? Because, like you say, it can actually end tomorrow. We can see a sustained improvement on that over a period of time. How can Ghana be dependent on this particular movement?
Well, in terms of monetary policy, it's about watching the market. It's about watching how portfolio investors in Ghana, have they started reacting? Are they concerned? And I think that there are key triggers. And most importantly, when we have seen that there are movements, mainly from investors in Ghana, mainly foreign portfolio investors, and of course we also see that a lot of multinationals are beginning to respond to this movement. Certainly we have to take decisions to...
All right. One signal we are picking on the ground is that the British Central Bank did indicate earlier that they were going to actually monitor events closely and then respond appropriately. The fact is, other analysts and economists are also suggesting that the Central Bank of England should actually cut down on their interest rate to zero. So in the event this particular action is actually maintained, what then is going to become of the cedi and then the gains made so far?
I think that interest rate reductions in the UK immediately, when it comes to our currency, would not affect us that much. What will rather affect us is if interest rates in the UK start going up, and we are concerned about portfolio investors. I think fundamentally there are two things. Short term is currency. Over the medium term, we must, if really the British pound gets weaker, what we're going to see is that on the import side, the British will be better off. And of course, from the export side, we'll be worse off. And those adjustments would have to take place in the economy. And to the extent that the central bank is concerned about it and how it's going to affect the economy, they may not even have to intervene because, remember, as a country, we have moved significantly to allow the market to work.
Okay. Before we leave the UK to the European Union, let me ask this. This morning we picked signals that Britain, their sovereign rating has actually been brought down from the excellent AAAs that they've actually enjoyed over the period. What does it also mean to the economy of England and, for that matter, the peripheral economies around which like Ghana, for example, in Africa?
No, well, when it comes to frontier markets like Ghana and the mature markets, what investors generally do is that they pick yields in markets like ours. So, of course, if the UK credit environment is downgraded and the investors are looking at that and they are looking at our market, I think immediately the response is that it is to our advantage, unless, of course, that triggers the fact that the UK would want to raise interest rates, and then, of course, that means that it will affect us. But I think the whole Brexit thing, for now, is creating sincerely a lot of anxiety, and until we see the market settle, it will be difficult to really talk about the path that a lot of countries like Ghana would take. Of course, from the side of the UK, they have to respond quickly to give confidence. The central bank needs to assure the market, and of course, even make funds available to intervene when it's necessary.
Mr. Aklegor, just in about 30 seconds, if you can help me, because we're also looking at the euro, which also had suffered some marginal depreciation against the cedi, and also events surrounding the European Union and what matters arising. What would you say to that? Because there's also the tendency that there will be some renegotiation or bilateral agreement which would affect countries like Ghana and others, basically. In 30 seconds, what would you say to that as well?
Well, my view is that when it comes to our relationship with the UK, it's quite historical and it's quite strong. I think that Ghana negotiating with the UK is something that which we are used to. And independent of the UK leaving, I think our negotiation with the EU would continue. So I think under the balance of risk, really, I don't see any significant changes for Ghana, except that for some of the difficulty that we are having with the current negotiations with the European Union, when Ghana have to discuss that independently with the UK, I do not know immediately how that would turn out. But again, practically, we all know that the UK is not rushing to exit immediately. They have some.
All right. We thank you very much, Mr. Samson Aklegor, for your time here on the Marketplace. We appreciate your time here. And now we're taking a short break. Marketplace returns. Welcome back. And the flag bearer of the People's National Convention, Dr. Edward Mahama, is asking government to invest more in the agricultural sector as the surest way to grow the economy and provide jobs for many unemployed youth. He was speaking at the Forum for Presidential Candidates in Accra.
So we believe that if we put in programs, especially agri, and I was discussing with Prof this morning, there are many areas that agri can do for our young people. I'm not saying that every young person should go on the farm, but for example, in those days, when I was a rice farmer, there were no KIAs. Why? Because when you are going to plant rice, we call it broadcasting. You don't plant it like you plant maize. People have to throw it on the land. The young people in those villages around there would come and help us broadcast the rice. Then when it germinates and there are weeds, you bring them back and they uproot the weeds so the rice can grow. Then when you are ready to harvest, you mobilize them. Those days there were no carriers because the young people in the north had something to do. I wasn't the only rice farmer. Indeed, under Operation Feed Yourself, Ghana became a rice exporting country because people were leaving the south to go to the north to do rice farming. At that time, I used to sell my rice to the President Mahama's father's rice mill, E.A. Mahama. So those young people who didn't want to go on the farm could go into the factory and either bag the rice or polish it somehow. So when you do agric and you add value to the chain, you get jobs for people. So agric is one way to get our young people into productive sector. For example, we've been talking that the PSA administration will make sure that we help the maize farmers in our farm plains to produce more. The maize will be turned into chicken feed mills. So if you don't want to work on the farm, you will work in the factory producing chicken feed. And we said we'll feed the chicken feed to chicken in Brong-Ahafo, many poultry farmers there. And then we feed the chicken to our school children. I have promised everything.
And that was presidential candidate Muhammad Nasir there. But we sorry we could not really bring you the financial market. You can catch the financial market up live on Business Live at 5 with Emmanuel Abwaje Ubiafi there. And so this brings us to the end of the Marketplace edition. Today, you can actually stay interactive with us on Twitter. Our handle is Joy Business GH, and on Facebook, it's Joy Business. For more business stories, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is John Kojo Amwako. Have a very good afternoon.